know, that part's going to be wonderful.
With smiles and cheers, the Grand Old Hotel is ready for a new life. Artist renderings show plans for a high-end hotel. There's room for exclusive apartments and family-friendly amenities like a bowling alley and swimming pool.
You want it to be warm and inviting, but you want people to ooh and ah over the glamour of what was there from when it was built.
Just 3 years ago, the once elegant hotel was more like an eyesore, a meth-making operation to blame for a fire that closed down the aging landmark. The developers say that this building has what they call good bones, and that's a real asset when it comes to these extensive renovations. The crumbling gold room is filled with potential. Behind the glass ceiling, there's artistry to recover.
There's enough left, and we have enough photographs to tell us what things look like that we can put a lot of this back together.
And there's plenty to find. This sculptured relief back on display, plus an old trombone resting on a piano.
There was an entire room full of hula skirts. I'm not really sure where that came from, but we've had a lot of fun guessing.
Within the past, plans for the future, and a new look for this downtown landmark. Construction will begin right away on what will now be referred to as Hotel Blackhawk, and they hope to have everything complete by the end of 2010. Reporting live in Davenport, John David, WQAD, Quad Cities News 8.
Thank you, John. Now, those who remember banquets and wedding receptions in the Gold Room will be able to take a trip down memory lane. They're planning to restore it to its original splendor. The first floor will also feature space for retail and a restaurant.
Investigators in Andalusia tonight are looking into what sparked a house fire there this afternoon. That fire started around 3 o'clock today at a home near 6th Street and 2nd Avenue. Fortunately, no one was home at the time of that fire. An attached garage was heavily damaged by the flames. There is no estimate on the cost of damages tonight. Well, an ideal spring day in and around the Quad Cities, and it looks like a great night ahead. Meteorologist Neil Kastor here tonight with the details on that. And Neil, I actually saw people cutting their lawns today. Very refreshing.
Yes, I did too. As a matter of fact, my neighbor Jim cut his grass for the first time. And it's nice to see things greening up a little bit. All we need is a bit of heat, and we had some today getting up to 67 degrees. A view from space showing some high cloudiness, and we've seen a few of those from ground level too. But the system here producing that is kind of stuck in the plains and move very slowly. So we got tomorrow to get through, and I think a good chunk of Saturday will turn out to be pretty nice as well. So looking good right now, 67 degrees, Quad City International Airport. That is our highest temperature for the day, and it's pretty darn good after being down in that 30-degree range early morning. 40 tonight, mostly clear skies. Not as cool as last night, but with the air being pretty dry and the wind fairly light, we will drop back overnight tonight. We'll detail what's ahead for you into the weekend and beyond, of course, coming up in a few minutes. Vanessa?
All right, thank you, Neil. And stay with us. Neil's final forecast just ahead of his retirement is just ahead tonight. South of the border now, President Barack Obama met with Mexican President Felipe Calderon today. He's announcing an inter-American weapons treaty that White House officials say should help take on the violent drug trade happening along the border. This is just the first leg on the president's trip through Latin America. As the global economic crisis hits Mexico as well, some analysts are fearful that Mexico could become a failed state. That's also a fear for the Quad Cities' large Hispanic population, many of which still have family there. Tonight, News 8's Pam Cunningham has much more on how many of them have high expectations for the president's trip.
At this market, it looks like Mexico, it sounds like Mexico, and it even tastes like Mexico. And the owner of La Primavera, the Mexican tienda in Moline, says that's the point.
I mean, they feel like home.
It feels like Mexico, but the President of the United States won't be speaking here.
All Mexicans, we expecting that today he's in Mexico. He's going to make a big issue about immigration for people who need help over here.
Angel Vargas is from Guanajuato, Mexico, and has lived in Moline for 30 years.
And a lot of people from Mexico is coming over here to look for a job and a better living.
Like his employee, Angie Cisneros, who moved here when she was just 4 years old.
Basically, my mom just came here to, have a better life for us.
There's a very personal interest in Obama's speech today, but there's also a large financial one as well. In this store alone, their customers send back thousands of dollars to Mexico every week, and they use 3 different money exchanges. Today, the exchange rate is $12.99 pesos for $1.
Their families down to Mexico, they really need the money from here. I mean, jobs in Mexico is like making $1 a day.
That's why so many people risk living in the United States.
Everybody's, getting pulled over by, police and everything because you don't have papers and stuff, and you know, it's frustrating, you know, that you don't get to have the same rights as everybody else, and you have to live like in fear.
Cisneros says for the last 8 years, the previous president has ignored the issue of immigration, but has faith in Barack Obama.
I'm really pleased with what he's done so far, you know, saying that it's going to be this year, that the decision is going to be taken this year.
She joins the millions of Mexican Americans living in the United States who want to hear what Obama will say in their homeland. In Moline, Pam Cunningham, WQAD Quad Cities, News 8.
Thank you, Pam. And the president today told CNN Espanol that beyond weapons pacts, immigration reform will be a major part of his strategy to tackle ongoing border issues.
Efforts to boost America's rail system got a nod from the White House this morning. President Barack Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, and Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood are calling for the country to improve the high-speed rail system. They say it will relieve congestion, help clean the air, and save on energy.
What we need then is a smart transportation system equal to the needs of the 21st century. A system that reduces travel times and increases mobility. A system that reduces congestion and boosts productivity. A system that reduces destructive emissions and creates jobs.
The president says this long-term project is not a pie-in-the-sky vision of the future. Quad City supporters hope to see a passenger rail system come through the Quad Cities and are seeking congressional support for that.
More than 160 local World War II veterans were back home today after what many of them are calling the trip of a lifetime. Those veterans returned to the Quad Cities last night after visiting Washington, D.C. and the monument built in their honor. Unfortunately, it was a soggy, cold day yesterday in the nation's capital, but the veterans say they were still overwhelmed by the experience.
This is something I wish everybody could see, and I wish you could feel like I do. But it's like home.
Those veterans yesterday also visited several other memorials there, including the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Well, tonight the U.S. military is preparing to send the body of a Quad City soldier killed in Iraq back home. Tomorrow morning, Corporal Jason Pouch's body is expected to return to Davenport. He was killed in a suicide bomb attack last Friday. Right now, that plane is scheduled to arrive just before 11 a.m. at the Mount Joy Airport. A procession will take his body to Weirt's funeral home following Highway 61 to 53rd Street to Jersey Ridge Road. A memorial is set for Monday in the gymnasium at Davenport North.
There's more questions today to what caused a fire at a Galva processing plant. The early morning fire comes just days after explosions that sent 3 people to the hospital. Today's fire started inside a third building in a compressor room. A water hose in that same room sprung a leak, helping to keep the fire from spreading. Fire marshal has been called back to investigate. Allfeed's owner, Tim Anderson, says he plans to rebuild the plant.
Former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich's former chief of staff also pleaded not guilty today in the ongoing federal corruption case. John Harris was the third co-defendant who has pleaded not guilty. Harris attorneys have said he's cooperating with federal prosecutors in the investigation into the Blagojevich administration. He was one of 6 charged in the massive indictment, which accuses them of trying to sell Barack Obama's vacated Senate seat and a host of other corrupt acts.
10 months since the Cedar River flooded hundreds of homes in Lynn County, there's a new problem lurking. Flood zone is being overrun with rats, hiding in debris, coming out at night, multiplying with each pile of garbage thrown out to the curb. County supervisors say they don't understand why this debris is even here. And then there's a problem with the homes that have not been gutted at all. Neighbors are worried about their pets.
It's fenced in, but you know, that don't mean nothing if there's wild animals that got rabies running around.
Workers at the county health department say the city was on top of picking up all the debris in the beginning, but as the temperatures get warmer, more homeowners are gutting their properties. A bar owner in West Burlington continues to fight to keep his liquor license as he challenges Iowa's Smoke-Free Air Act. Larry Duncan owns Otis Campbell's Bar and Grill. He filed an application in Des Moines County District Court to get his license back. State prosecutors have given it a thumbs down. Duncan says the smoking ban violates the Iowa Constitution because it doesn't treat businesses the same. Smoking, for example, is still allowed in gambling areas at casinos.
Well, still ahead tonight at 5 to help the rush is on, to help Gilda's Club of the Quad Cities and hundreds of local families fighting cancer right now. We will introduce you to one of the many people touched by that organization. Plus, find out how you can help during our Day of Giving.
And a movie shot in Davenport and Burlington will make its debut next week here in the Quad Cities. We'll tell you where you can catch Sugar next.
And we've had some good weather here the last couple of days. A spectacular Friday, perhaps. I'll put this in the dandy category. We should be able to top 70 degrees with some sunshine. Clouds increase by Saturday. Showers perhaps in the evening. Rain most likely Saturday night and into Sunday especially. So we'll detail all of that for you. A look ahead, still ahead on Quad Cities News 8. Another left.
Neil, you can say hello to our viewers on the web.
Oh, really?
Yeah!
Hello, web viewers.
Oh, and there it is. Big day here, WQAD. Neil Kastor has eaten 40 cakes. He has been given so much sugar that he is wired beyond belief.
He's tired of retirement cake, but he'll take pie if
Right.
he likes rhubarb pie.
You like rhubarb pie, Neil?
Rhubarb pie?
Yeah.
You know, actually, yeah, rhubarb pie is okay.
Vanessa's like, I know. I just told you. He likes rhubarb pie.
Apple's my favorite.
Apple's his favorite.
Okay. Well, I like rhubarb.
Yeah, good rhubarb pie. I'm a peach pie guy. You don't come across peach pies too often.
Rhubarb is where it's at, though.
Apparently. You know what was always good? Those Baker's Square French silk pies.
Yes.
Did they have those at Village Inn? Because I know those are the same,
Yes.
same spot. That's good pie. Oh, yeah, look at that.
For the past 10 years, Gilda's Club has been an organization for those living with cancer to lean on for support.
Now, as the Week of Laughter continues, we wanted to take a minute to go behind the big red door and introduce you to one man who has benefited from Gilda's. All it took was 3 years of lessons for Mike Druin to sound like this. His love of classical music led him to the piano. It's something he knows a thing or two about, and unfortunately, he knows a thing or two about cancer as well.
Was a caregiver. My wife had cancer and died almost 8 years ago. I am a cancer victim. I am a cancer survivor.
After 32 years of marriage, Mike's wife died in 2001, but back then, he didn't know about Gilda's.
The support would have been wonderful. I really didn't know that it was available at the time.
Just 6 years later, Mike himself was diagnosed with head and neck cancer. Doctors found a tumor in his salivary gland.
My first thought was, I'm gone.
With family far away, Mike didn't want to put them through it a second time.
Seeing what my wife went through, it was difficult.
With news from his doctors that his cancer was treatable, he began radiation, and that's when he heard about Gilda's from a friend.
I was afraid that by coming here, I would just relive all the old bad memories, and so I was really reluctant.
But he eventually came.
Let go of any stress and any problems that you might be thinking about.
Mike now spends Tuesday afternoons here at the club in meditation. He also attends the journaling session. Like so many others that come here for social and emotional support, this club has become a second home.
It's a family. People have problems, yes, but they're overcoming them to the best of their ability, and you support one another.
As for the cancer, Mike isn't worried.
I feel great. I feel wonderful. I've never felt better in my life, actually. You know, it can come back, but the odds are that it won't.
That's great to hear. Great outlook. And tonight we are asking for your help as we continue our all-day donation drive right outside our studios. We've been collecting donations since 6:30 this morning, and you have been very generous despite this down economy. There's meteorologist Anthony Peoples helping out tonight. That drive continues until 7 o'clock, and tonight from 6:30 to 7, keep it right here for a very special half hour devoted to Gilda's Club of the Quad Cities.
And we're also trying to help the Children's Therapy Center of the Quad Cities. On Sunday, you can enjoy episodes of Third Rock from the Sun commercial free as we ask for your financial support for the center. It provides children speech and physical therapy so they can thrive and grow. Join us Sunday starting at 11, and please help us with the Children's Therapy Center. A feature film shot 2 years ago in the Quad Cities will make its regional premiere next week. Sugar follows a pitcher from the Dominican Republic as he struggles to make it to the big leagues. On Friday, April 24th, it will show for the very first time here in the Quad Cities at Showcase Cinemas in Davenport. The film's producers, writers, and its lead star are all expected to be at the Quad Cities premiere.
In Sugar's case, we have a film that has got a strong message and has I think, a beautiful way of showing our Midwestern sensibilities in a global world.
Yes. An after party at the Lodge in Bettendorf will follow the screening. It will be open to anyone with a ticket stub from the film. After nearly 30 years at WQAD, meteorologist Neil Kastor is saying goodbye tonight.
But not before a walk down memory lane and one final forecast. Look at them there. Plus, we will share some of your well wishes to Neil coming up 2 minutes away on News 8 at 5.
And of course, over that front, kicking off a wide area of precipitation. Out to the west, further back to the northwest, colder air funneling into the northern plains. Very. What's that? Oh, is it really?
The graphics really haven't changed much.
Panhandle, and it will be tracking along.
Neil, are you able to see a monitor anywhere?
Yeah. And if you get too much money, they may just let you go.
Rick, is that you?
Neil, are you able to see a monitor?
He's on the phone, I think.
Oh. Look at that.
Look at that.
Who's that guy?
Oh.
Is this the Collins thing you're
This is actually Channel 4.
Oh, okay.
About 1979, yeah.
Now, when can we have weather maps like that again? I like those maps. When can we have
Actually, they were okay.
I know.
Actually made life easier.
So it was northern, then up to Wisconsin, then Channel 4, then Madison.
Right.
Then here.
Then, no, Channel 4, northern, Madison, Channel 4, Milwaukee, here.
Got it.
Got it. Kept going back into Wisconsin.
Oh, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm doing sports tonight. Mic
Oh,
check,
you
1,
could
2,
flip
3,
that old prompter there.
Sure.
Hey, folks.
Yes. Hello again to our internet viewers.
And I'm on the wrong side tonight. I'm on the sports side.
Yes. You are going to break down the NFL draft.
What? Dinosaur, yes.
Actually, I'm just going to talk about the Steamwheelers.
Yeah.
Don't they do well in baseball?
Or Carol Burnett with her.
That's a joke.
Anthony with the funny sports quips.
Nah.
He'll be here all night. I'm going to go to the...
Oh!
Sugar?
Did you like my...
I'm going to go see Sugar. I'm also going to go to the River Bandits game.
Now, we're closing the show on a 4-shot, too, right?
Yeah, that's... Mm-hmm. I knew you were watching. I figured you were.
South side of the front, very mild air. 70 degrees in Rockford, 69 down in Peoria, and Moline checking in with 72 degrees.
Neil's already laughing. First, a young up-and-comer at Northern Illinois University, and then the back and forth to Wisconsin, and the Quad Cities began. Back to Wisconsin, finally to WQAD, and it has all come down to tonight. After nearly 30 years, 120 seasons, Neil, of forecasting that ever-challenging weather in and around the Quad Cities and running some tires, meteorologist Neil Kastor set to ride off into retirement. And Neil, you picked a dandy of a day to go out on, my man.
Yeah, wow. That's some interesting video there. Huh? I think those tires of the year I was trying out for the Bears. I'm not sure. Oh, my, yeah, 30 years worth. I notice, I look at that, and I say, I was much younger and thinner at one point in time. Well, those days are gone. Today was a beautiful day, and I'm glad you used the term dandy. because that's one that I always threw around and reserved only for days that were spectacular. Today, I think, falls into the dandy category. A lot of sunshine, 67 degrees right now. East breeze at about 9 miles per hour. Air is very dry. It's very comfortable air. Will allow temperatures to swing down again overnight tonight and then back up tomorrow. That dry air heats and cools very quickly. 70 from downtown Clinton and Greg Dickinson. 71, that's Chuck Brokaw. In Rock Falls tonight, Joyce Jacobson, 66. In New Bedford, a 65 from Illinois City and Katie Schroeder. And 67 in West Burlington from Joe Clark. All the way around, pretty nice day. The view from space looking pretty good too. This might look a little ominous, but just some very high, thin clouds, which we'll try to work in here tonight. And one little piece of energy will come along in those clouds and they'll dissipate. The main weather system associated with that, well to the west and likely to stay there for a while. We have showers in the Plain States. Low pressure here in eastern Colorado. That's going to track on eastward here over the course of the next couple of days. A little cool front with that. Ahead of it, though, warming southeasterly winds, and that's the key for us here next day or two. Warming before we really have to deal with any showers. We take a look at our forecast map here through midnight. Not much going. Again, those high clouds dissipating. And then tomorrow they'll try to regenerate again, but probably not have a whole lot of luck. So we're looking at a mostly sunny sky tomorrow. Really looks pretty good. This is midday. Through the afternoon, a few high clouds again, but a lot of sunshine. We should be able to be even warmer tomorrow than what we had going today. This is tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock overnight. A few more clouds, yes, perhaps, Saturday morning. But most of Saturday will be just that. A few clouds off and on. Don't expect too much in the way of rain until Saturday night. And then Saturday night into Sunday. Even Monday, kind of unsettled and much cooler. 50s this evening by 8 o'clock. Will fall down fairly quickly as we lose the sunshine into the 40s. Model trying to bring some 30s down in here. Maybe. North part of the area, northeast especially, probably will be at least upper 30s. We'll settle for something around 40 in the immediate Quad Cities. Then tomorrow, as we get toward the middle of the day here, rising up to the 50s, 9 a.m., 60s by midday, and well into the 60s. Some 70s, I think, will sneak in here tomorrow afternoon. So we'll raise it up just a little bit, higher maybe than what the model here is trying to tell us based on where we were today. Clear sky tonight, or at least mostly so. Not as cool as last night. 32 early this morning, 40 for a low temperature. 72 tomorrow afternoon. A lot of sunshine and obviously a bit warmer. Southeast winds 7 to 14. Tomorrow night 47. Increasing cloudiness. Again, not as cool. And by the time we get to Saturday, a little more cloud cover. We'll call it a variable sky. Still, though, near 70. Shower chances increase by evening, and especially Sunday, Saturday night, Sunday, even into Monday. And some cool weather early next week. 50s. The clouds and showers are too tough. We might not even get that warm. So a couple more cool days. But beyond that, we'll be looking at temperature readings rising late next week, well into the 70s, if not even 80 degrees. So that's pretty good.
Good to see.
Florida weather, Neil.
It is. We have a master plan to get to Florida as soon as you buy my house.
One final plug on that, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
Well, needless to say, we have received hundreds and hundreds of messages, emails, phone calls from many of you wishing Neil well. And this is a live look right now at our website where you can leave a note for Neil. Robin wrote, "Neil, you are a Quad City icon and you will be missed." Lynette left a message as well. "Neil, we have enjoyed your weather forecast for 25 years. You have always been our person to listen to. We will miss you and we will wish you the best." And of course, that especially holds true for everyone that has worked with you. I grew up, of course, in Anaheim watching you since I was a little girl.
That's right,
so,
yeah. Now you're really aging me, aren't you?
And I
Not that you're that old, no.
And I want to say the fact that Neil was instrumental in bringing me here 3.5 years ago. It's been a pleasure being able to work with you during severe weather in the past year very closely. I wish you the very best.
Well, thank you very much, Anthony. It's been nice working with Anthony. And I'm just going to pass the keys to Anthony, let him drive this thing. How's that?
One for the road.
All right.
It's a beast. One for the road, indeed, and we'll do that in the near future. News 8 at 5 will continue in 2 minutes.
Let's do it.
It's the beater out back. It's actually
it's the old live truck.
It's actually the live truck. Anthony's going to get pulled over going over the 74 bridge. Neil gave me the keys.
Good luck with that, huh?
Well, Neil and Anthony, I think it's a 4-shot at the end again.
According to the rundown, it is.
Or we'll do a 3-shot, whatever.
That's fine. You can come back. What the heck?
Neil, I was trying to find this picture, and I don't know if I've shown you it before, but...
Oh, the crowning?
Yes, and I couldn't find it.
You showed me that one time.
I did show you.
Yeah.
I thought I did. But yeah, I couldn't. It's somewhere at my parents' house in a stack of stuff. But yeah, it's a funny one. It's a good one.
What?
On 2?
That's neat.
That was my debut at Channel 8, my first appearance.
Right.
Yeah.
What? Oh, the Al Van Z thing? Yeah. That would be
Did I ever tell
funny.
you that story?
No, but you can share it with the viewers.
In 1994, when I was the Henry County Fair Queen, Neil was at Rock Island, the fair there, doing the weather, and he grabbed me to do the forecast.
Really?
Yes. And so my mom snapped a picture of it, and I have it somewhere.
Okay, well, let's see.
And I was a complete failure. I remember I was so nervous.
Hey, Kate. What in the world's going on over there? Oh, there it is. Kate's playing games. Neil's final day, and well, take a trip down memory lane for a minute and think about your college photo. Were you smiling in it? A university professor at DePaul University in Indiana is studying how your smile can predict if you'll be happily married. The professor and a team of researchers, including DePaul students, studied what a smile can say about someone's likelihood of getting a divorce or staying married.
We know that smiling correlates with divorce, but we have no idea really why that's occurring. It could be that they have a more positive disposition. It could be that they attract happier people.
That study also found that the bigger people's smiles are in their college yearbook, the better the chances they'll avoid divorce. The research also looked at the importance of touch and a person's general disposition. Well, speaking of smiles, a kindergarten student at Hamilton Elementary in Moline was definitely smiling ear to ear today.
Yes, that is because he got to be king for the day. The 6-year-old won the chance at the school carnival in March to take over the school and be principal for a day. Victoria Bowman stepped down from her duties as Justin took over making announcements and other grown-up decisions. He toured the administrative buildings and even high-fived the superintendent, as you saw there, Cal Lee. Teachers say the experience teaches good leadership skills, among other things.
What do all the kids think about you being principal for a day at your school?
They laughed.
They laughed? Why did they laugh?
I don't know.
Are you going to put them in detention then, or?
I might.
It is good to be king. Justin was planning on giving his class a free recess for the day. Why not make the whole day a recess?
Fits into that suit pretty well. He looks like he was owning his new role out there.
That's right.
Well, thanks very much for joining us tonight.
Yes, and thanks everyone for all the nice comments. It's been a good long run.
It's been a wonderful run, and as we leave you tonight, Neil leaves us, but not before a very well-deserved send-off that we had earlier today. We'll be back here tonight for News 8 at 6. Have a great night, everybody.
How nice.